A warm good morning to one and all present here to attend the National Seminar on Research Methodology. We at CMR School of Legal Studies are enthralled by the presence of the dignitaries on and off the dais. Without further delay, let us begin the program for today. Invoking the presence of God is a priority in every auspicious occasion. Hence, let us assure God's blessings with an invocation song by the students of CMRU School of Legal Studies. So I invite Aarti and Dhruv to sing the invocation song. Thank you for invoking the blessings. Now I invite Professor T.R. Subramanian Sir, Dean, School of Legal Studies, CMR University, to deliver the welcome speech.
A very good morning to ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the CMR University and on behalf of the CMR University School of Legal Studies, I deem it a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Professor Ishwar Bhat. Professor Ishwar Bhat had and has a distinguished career. It is not yet stopped. He was born in the year 1955, completed his graduation from the Vivekananda College, Puttur, and completed his LLB from the present Vaikunta Baliga Law College, Udupi. Earlier it was called as the Udupi Law College. Thereafterwards, he did his LLM from the University of Mysore with first rank and a gold medal. Then he pursued his PhD in the same department regarding fundamental rights. Thereafterwards, he went on publishing articles, writing books, and became an acknowledged scholar in India in constitutional law. He held distinguished positions in the University of Mysore. He served as the academic council member of the University of Mysore, member of the syndicate, thereafter became in charge vice chancellor of the University of Mysore as well. In the year 2011, if you just look at the service rendered by him, he served almost for 3 years in Krishna Law College, Hassan. Then in the Karnataka University's PG Department of Law for a period of 2 years. That is 79 to 82 in Karnataka University, 82 to 84 in the University of the Krishna Law College, 1789 to 82, 82 to 84 Karnataka University, Harvard. And 84 he shifted to the University of Mysore. And afterwards, till 2011, he was serving in different capacities. I just indicated as an assistant professor, as an associate professor, as professor, then as dean, and in other positions in the University of Mysore. In 2011, he was appointed as the Vice Chancellor of the West Bengal National University of Medical Sciences. And he was the Vice Chancellor until recently. That is, till June, he was the Vice Chancellor of the same university. He has published almost more than 115 articles in leading journals of India and abroad. He has written wonderful books. One such book which is known and expected to be known by every LLM student is Law and Social Transformation. The other one relating to the most important book happened to be relating to the private non-profit organizations. And he has won his LLD, Doctor of Laws, in the year 2016 from the National Law University, Bangalore. And he has visited many countries. He was what we call as a Fulbright Nehru Fellowship awardee, and he served in the University of Columbia, in the Queen's University, Columbia, presented papers in the People's Republic of China at Beijing, presented papers in Germany, in the state of Pakistan, in Korea, and Indonesia, as well as Malaysia and many other countries. The university, as well as the School of Legal Studies, is honored to have such a scholar. On behalf of the School of Legal Studies, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ishwar Bhat, to honor our beloved guest. I also welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ishwar Bhat. He is with us and he has been always with us for the welfare of almost all the schools of this university.
Professor Ishwar Bhat, Honorable Vice Chancellor of CMR University, Professor T.R. Subramania, Dean of Faculty of Law, CMR University, dear students, faculty members, and delegates. It gives me great pleasure in participating in this inaugural session of one day workshop on research methodology. Legal research is gaining a lot of importance because of various functions it performs. It is used for exploring what the law is. It is used to bring law reforms. It is used to know the historical evolution. It is used to know meaning of law, and it is a method of understanding the law in its true perspective. Research in the field of law is done by various law persons. Lawyers, judges, law officers do involve in research, but they have their own agenda of upholding specific interests. But research in a real sense is done by law commission, judges, academicians, and all those persons who are involved in a university set of legal education. Research in the field of law is a necessity because of all these reasons that we have to know the defects in law, or we have to know the way in which law can be reformed, and how the social impact of law can be enhanced. About all those things we have to think. Every legal norm is born in a particular social circumstance. That's why interdisciplinary approach becomes very much essential. According to Dworkin, every legal doctrine has a social, economic, political, and historical dimensions, psychological dimensions. Thus, it is essential to know law from different perspectives. That is why multidisciplinary approach related to understanding of the law becomes very much essential. The thinking process relating to legal research ought to be systematic. It should start with that attitude of asking questions, reflective thinking, and expanding the zone of inquiry with a focus on a specific theme, and ultimately arrive at conclusions on the basis of a detailed and exhaustive collection of data and reacting to that data. That's why various methods are required. There are two things that to be understood whenever in legal research is to be understood in its real sense. One is the aspect of idea, the other is method. These are all interconnected, and without knowing the idea, method cannot be implemented, or a method cannot be chosen. Further, it is only by knowing the idea that a method can be molded. That's why all these are interconnected. A researcher in the field of law should have the attitude of a poet, because he has to respond to the human issues, the social circumstances. He should be sympathetic to so many of the human problems. That's why poet's heart is very much essential for a legal researcher. Secondly, he should have scientific outlook. He should think and act as a scientist. Thirdly, since futuristic projection of legal propositions are to be made through research, he should predict, or he should act as a prophet, or that prophet's sense of the welfare of the world ought to be there in the mind of the researcher. That's what Justice Felix Frankfurt says about the qualities of a legal researcher, or the basic thing to be done in the course of legal research. Then, legal research, like research in other fields of science or social sciences, ought to be done in a very objective manner. See, law is something involving so many of these subjective factors. See, in a diversified world where so many interests are operating, multiple religions, multiple languages, multiple interests, regional interests are operating. To be value neutral to all those things and to commit oneself to the cause of objectivity is requiring certain discipline of mind. Objectivity is something very much essential. See, don't get influenced by what others say, or what your own teachers say, or what others write, or what the politicians say, or what the society says. That which is convincingly clear about the welfare of the society, you accept that. That's what Lord Buddha said. Because when knowledge has the purpose of promoting welfare of the society, objectivity ought to be fine-tuned to the cause of a good. Because through the process of finding the truth, ultimately it's a justice that should be promoted, or welfare that should be promoted, or human rights that should be protected. Thus, a purposive character of legal research is something implicit when we find that knowledge is always purposive. When knowledge is purposive, research ought to concentrate on the larger purpose rather than the purpose of, some perverted purpose of giving advantages to some community or some caste or some other specific group. Because you have to think about the welfare of the community at large. That's why you should be value neutral. Then a legal research ought to be done with the commitment to ethics. Ethics in the social science research is something emerging as a very important requirement, ruling plagiarism or so many other ethical principles that treat your witnesses or interviewees or the persons or communities who are going to be observed with the fairness. Their privacy ought not to be offended, or their dignity ought not to be offended, and there ought not to be any derogatory things to their identity or their image or dignity itself. There is a requirement arising out of ethical principles relating to legal research. These are all things which come within the domain of idea of research. How we conduct research. What is research? What is its purpose? And what is its basis? And how it evolved? And ultimately, how the researcher should have that objective of promoting the interests of the society. About all those things, those research ideas or ideas about the legal research that ought to be there in our mind. Then comes a method. Method is the way of doing things. There are several ways of doing research. Of course, that method ought to be chosen by looking at the circumstances, needs of the type of research. So, what type of method you are going to choose for conducting research in the field of law? About that, you have to make a choice, but it ought to be done in a very reasonable and comprehensive manner. About various methods that are open to legal researcher, one should have awareness. That is why conducting of this kind of seminar or workshop becomes very much essential. I congratulate the university, especially Vice Chancellor Professor Ishwar Bhat and also Professor T.R. Subramania for organizing this kind of seminar, so that inclination to research, or the drive to conduct research, or the attitude that ought to be developed, because it's by asking questions, finding answers, asking again questions on the basis of answers, and going on finding the ultimate truth or ultimate answer. See, that kind of attitude ought to be there, whether it's LLB students or LLM students or PhD students. They should have that kind of inclination, and expansion of the field of knowledge occurs only by that method. About methods of legal research broadly, it is possible to classify into two groups. There is a doctrinal method, the other is a non-doctrinal method. Doctrine is a legal proposition which is born out of say either common law thinking or precedents or even interpretation about the legal provisions of some statutes. And when the research is concentrating on a doctrine, it is essential to understand the circumstance in which that doctrine has emerged. And always all those thoughts are put in the form of some language. It is not possible to think about any idea or thoughts without being put into the form of a language. Language and thinking go hand in hand. That's why good understanding of the linguistic circumstance or linguistic basis of that proposition becomes essential. For example, when some organization asked you to conduct research about the extent to which Bhagavad Gita is used in the course of adjudicative process, then by using the latest technology, there's by using the search engines in the databases, whether it's a Manupatra or say AAR or SCC or say Google, it is possible to make a list of cases in which Bhagavad Gita is referred. And I came across about 25 cases in which Supreme Court and High Courts have referred to Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, at the context of 150th year of Gandhiji's birthday, if you are to assess what is the impact of Gandhian thoughts upon the constitutional jurisprudence or upon the legal system, then it is possible to know from a case law. You can make a list of about 50 to 60 cases where Gandhiji was cited. See, using the latest technology may be one method, but it is a linguistic analysis that you are doing. See, today, language is not just giving a picture of things, or it is a mere medium of communication. It is a source of cultural power itself. And in a postmodernist world, how all those cultural components, value systems, and ethical considerations count a lot. About that you have to think. Whether it's about Gandhiji or Bhagavad Gita or any other thing. When these cultural factors or ethical considerations or all these propositions are to be taken into consideration in the course of research. You should know the latest jurisprudential development. What is the postmodernist view about the approach of a legal system relating to cultural resource? Can the law be totally separate from culture? It's not possible, because the law itself is a product of culture, and culture has one component in a law itself. That is why growth of law is through the growth of a culture itself. That's when for the latest modern problems. Modernism, modernity, or these scientific outlook, etc., cannot provide solution. You have to rely upon larger experience of the society. What was the social solution or answer to for these types of problems prior to modernity? About that, suppose you find some answer, then you have to get some help from either Gandhian thoughts, Bhagavad Gita, or some other thing. I'm giving such a type of example only to point out that relating to doctrines or theoretical considerations, you should be strong. So develop your knowledge of jurisprudence, because research is an extension of jurisprudence itself. So give greatest attention to develop your ideas relating to the philosophy of law. What is the philosophy of law, and how that is to be put into application? Because while interpreting the law, or while applying the law, or while making any kind of analysis, you should have that immense background of jurisprudential knowledge. That's why getting a good mastery in jurisprudence and getting a mastery in some of the thinking about law, society, interaction, etc., becomes very much essential. Related to methods also, it is not possible to compartmentalize the methods. One is the doctrinal method, and within doctrinal methods there are so many other things. Analytical method of legal research. See, by analyzing what the law is, the researcher is going ahead to contribute to the knowledge system by unearthing what is the meaning of law. How to find the meaning of law? See, text can be the basis for identifying the meaning of the law. Text is the basis, or the legal provision. Then alternatively, silence can also be the basis. When a law is silent, then by filling the gap on the basis of jurisprudential thinking, the courts may evolve some of the doctrines like a doctrine of basic structure. See, Constitution does not lay down expressly about the limitation on a power to amend the Constitution, but the judiciary evolved basic structure doctrine by looking to the purpose of amendment. Why amendment? Amendment is something that should bring a better world, or it should solve the problem, or it should create a situation where the changed socio-economic circumstances are properly addressed. So that amendment does not do that, but it destroys the very foundation of the Constitution itself. How can we say that that power is within the Parliament? So silence can be the basis. Then a relation can also be the basis. What is the relation between Part 3 and Part 4? What is the relation between constitutional and international law? What is the relation between federalism and democracy? By examining all these things, you may be able to contribute a new meaning. That's an analytical method. Then a comparative method. See, examining the experience of one particular legal system alone cannot be regarded as sufficient, because in some other jurisdictions, American jurisdiction or English jurisdiction or other legal systems, so like Australia, Canada, etc., there might have been some other type of legal development, so that we can have a better comparison, pointing out the similarities and differences, and advantages and disadvantages of different approaches, and what type of lesson we can draw on use of that comparative analysis. You have to think on those lines. That is a comparative study. Historical legal research. How law was evolved. See, law was evolved on the use of interaction between law and society at various stages of development, and evolution of law has actually promoted certain types of values or certain propositions, and what is the trend of development, and from a history what we can learn. That's quite important. Then a philosophical research. What is the philosophy of a particular legal concept or a legal proposition, and at higher levels of research, when the scientific truth and philosophical considerations merge, at that level, what inferences can be drawn, and how the philosophy of justice or a philosophy of say law or a philosophy of multiculturalism or secularism, etc., can be developed about those methods that provides some input about the propriety of the policies. See here, instead of focusing on one particular question, the researcher will be examining alternative policies, and amidst those policies, on the basis of their costs and benefits, which policy can be regarded as appropriate. About that, the researcher has to arrive at certain conclusions. Then action research. See, research is not just meant for giving a report to the university or say bringing some publication or some other thing. Research should result in some concrete output of making the position of the affected parties better. Now suppose relating to human trafficking, a researcher conducts research and he finds that so many women or girls are exploited, and this is the state of affairs. Instead of just giving a report and keeping quiet about any of those things, so he collaborates with some civil society or some organization or some administrative agency which can provide a remedy, and works for getting a remedy to all those affected parties. That's the action research. Now suppose in the course of research about the implementation of Education Act, it is found that this 25% rule is not adopted in certain schools, or say beating of children or corporeal punishment, which is abolished under the Education Act, is practiced in some of the education institutions. About that, he finds the violation of law. Instead of merely reporting about the researcher finding, so he helps in providing a remedy to the affected party. That's called as action research. These are all doctrinal methods of research. Action research is not a mere doctrinal. Actually, it involves a combination of several methods. See, non-doctrinal research involves application of qualitative research and quantitative research. Qualitatively, the legal researcher will be getting data from the natural setting of the society, from the society as it is. By going to the society and getting those data about the violation of law or any of those things, and providing yes, and building up his research team and trying to provide a remedy. That is how qualitative research is conducted, empirical research. And there are of course various tools which are specific for non-doctrinal research are employed. Questionnaire, interview, observation study, then ethnographic study, case study, and so many other types of tools are used by the researcher for that purpose. Those tools are used even for quantitative research also. See, what the researcher does in such circumstances is that he will be gathering the data to cross-verify the legal position. Now, under a criminal procedure code, after a 2013 amendment, there is a very laudable rule that within 60 days from the filing of a charge sheet, the rape trial shall be complete. A very admirable legal proposition, but what is the reality? Now, suppose an NGO conducts research about the extent to which this legal requirement is complied. The finding is that amidst 15 sample cases, it is found that in all the 15 cases, the minimum time taken is not 60. It is a minimum is 77 days, maximum is 560 days, and average is 240 days. Where is the law and what is the reality? See, when there is that deviation from the statute book and law in social reality is something else, that can be brought out to the knowledge of the people only by legal research. Cross-verification of all those things is required, and that's also called as a triangulation, sociological method, triangulation. Statistical research is a very important method of research. If Oliver and Holmes had regarded that, the future legal researcher will be a statistician. See, without the statistics, it is not possible to conduct a research. Of course, a combination of several methods, which is called as a multi-method legal research, there is a required, because that avoids any error occurring, any error arising out of following a specific method of research. Then there is a need to cross-verify, and of course, multi-method legal research is of great help. Then formulation of idea and ultimately developing the research team and publish and writing article or writing report. Those are all requirements with which the legal researcher will be complete, because a legal researcher has a social responsibility to the society. There's to unfold the findings about the legal propositions, development, social reality, and interaction between law and society, and for the growth of law, and for a legal profession, and for effective performance of any of the legal services, legal research is a must. Don't think that legal research is yes, it is very much essential for each and every law person. And this kind of seminar is something that is empowering all these young minds, igniting all the minds of these youngsters. That's a kind of responsibility which the university has undertaken, and you will have very eminent resource persons. I wish all success to this seminar. With this, let me conclude. Thank you very much.
Very good morning to all. Honorable Chief Guest of today's program, Professor Ishwar Bhat, Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Law University, Madam Dr. Shishikala Gurupur, Director of Symbiosis Law School at Symbiosis University. Our esteemed Dean, Dr. T.R. Subramania, former Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Law University. My dear colleagues and the participants for the workshop. We had a very enlightening talk by the keynote speaker on what is legal research and what are the approaches for finding the solution that is useful for the society. One of the concerns he expressed is you have to follow the ethical principles and you have to be sensitive to the society also. If you look at our history in India, we are seeing the development of higher education in India over the last 50-60 years. All the people on the dais are quite aware of how the higher education has developed in India in the last 4 to 5 decades. Earlier, it was research means it was only the basic research, finding out some new things in physics, chemistry, or developing new solutions in mathematics. The scope was very much limited. People were not talking about research in other professions. But as the educational policy at the government changed over the years, the higher education departments like MHRD, Ministry of Higher Education and Development, and UGC, the University Grants Commission, who look after the higher education, started promoting research in a big way because it is essential for development of economics and development of the nation. So we find that a lot of thrust is given to research in other areas, and it is not only solving the problems, finding out something new, but providing the solution for the public use or the society is very much essential. What is important as far as you young graduates are concerned, developing the scientific temperament, the investigative attitude is very much essential. There are well-defined ways to solve the problems. Formulate the problem, yes. There are ways by which you can identify the problem, and there are scientific approaches using which you can find the solution. Many people think that if I take a research and if it reaches a dead end, then my work of 4 to 5 years will be waste. But that will not happen. If you are a good researcher, there is always a way to define the new problem. Starting with some problem, you are certain that you are reaching some dead end, then you define or change the problem definition itself. There are so many challenges, and I am really envy of you because earlier we never had so much opportunity for doing research, but over the last 20 to 30 years, the lot of thrust is given for research, and definitely you will have to pursue it. Why? What is the necessity? At the bottom of the pyramid, there is a wide opportunity. But as you go higher and higher, if you want to occupy higher positions, succeed in life, then it is very much essential you acquire master's degree and also acquire PhD degree. As our keynote speaker said, degree may not be the ultimate goal. The service to the society is utmost important. With these few words, I thank our honorable guest for sparing their time. He is very much hard pressed for time. So, on behalf of the university, I thank him for taking away some time to be with us and share his experiences. With this, I wish all the participants the very best. Thank you.
A very good morning to all. I think it is a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion on behalf of CMR School of Legal Studies. First and foremost, we express our deep felt gratitude to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Ishwar Bhat, Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Law University, Prof, for his insightful keynote address. Thank you, sir. I request our Vice Chancellor, Professor M.S. Shivkumar, to present chief guest with a momentous token of our gratitude. Thank you, sir. We are also very thankful to our Vice Chancellor, Professor M.S. Shivakumar, for his presidential address. Thank you, sir. We are also grateful to our beloved Dean, Professor T.R. Subramanya, for his encouragement and continuous support in organizing this workshop and this methodology. Thank you, sir. We are also grateful to our distinguished resource person, Dr. P. Shashikala Gurupur, Director, Symbiosis Law School. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence. We thank all the distinguished resource persons, learned advocates, research scholars, participating delegates, and all the distinguished invitees present here. Thank you so much.